4 more rounds of Swiss and the top cut to 32 right afterwards. In order to do that, the math says you kind of got to win out. About you can go up to 2 losses, and then it gets a little bit iffy on whether or not you're going to make it. You probably will not. So these guys are here, and they are going to be...
And right now, as these guys are here, they do not know what each other is playing. Maybe they've seen around the field, around the top tables. Maybe they've gotten to peek at what people were playing, so maybe they have a hint. But tomorrow, we'll actually get to have open deck lists, so that will also be a big difference going into day 2.
That is in the top cut, yes.
The top cut, yes. So that's another part of the day that we'll get to see. But here, we do get the advantage of having our lovely production team give us all of the information. We've got Ruby Amethyst, piloted by Gerard, and Dakota on Amethyst Sapphire.
Yep, the good old Blurple against Ruby Amethyst matchup. Now, I've looked at this matchup a little bit here. I don't think that Ruby Amethyst is super happy to see Blurple. It feels a lot like the Amethyst cards are going to be pretty similar, but the Sapphire cards are going to allow you a lot more top end. We got stuff like Hades, right? We are going to be ramping with cards like Tipo, with cards like Sail the Azurite Seas. So Dakota will probably have a slight advantage. We'll see, though, if Gerald has any spice, if Gerald has any cards, if he just draws extraordinarily well, and if Dakota...
we could see Hades on either side of the board in these colors, technically. We don't know which version of the decks these players are on, but we're going to see Ruby Amethyst start us off with a Tinkerbell fancy footwork coming down. I love this 1-drop. What do you think of the strength of this play?
I mean, it's a typical move, right? It's Ruby Amethyst is going to be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hopefully, and then, as Baker said, my Demona comes down, exerts all of the characters on Dakota's side of the board, refills your hand. That is sort of the strategy. I am seeing, though, that there's a library in Gerald's hand. That is a little bit of tech spice, probably for this kind of a matchup.
Cool. We do see Dakota following up with a Basil Practice Detective, also a key part of potentially, you know, supporting other characters so we can get more strength to go into challenges if we need to.
Much like the Elsa 5th Spirit, exactly.
Yes, and another really strong card for Amethyst. This is one of my favorites that's being played in any deck right now. Diablo, Obedient Raven. He has a great ability that when he leaves play, he's going to get cards for you. Just one, but there's 2 of them on the board right now. Gerald showcasing that he understands the matchup. He has to be the aggressor in this matchup. There are going to be games, much like Dogs, where he can play a little bit more of the control role, but in this, dropping the 3 1-drops is the surefire sign that Gerald knows exactly what he's doing here. Tipo's going to come down. We'll be able to challenge into these Diablos, but it does not ever feel good to challenge into Diablo, banish it, and then allow your opponent to be drawing cards. Dakota now has to play the Tipo. If he had the option between the Sail or the Tipo is the definite choice here because it represents another body that can challenge in and kind of cut the legs out of Gerald's strategy here. Absolutely. Having another character not only to challenge if needed, but this is kind of similar to what we've seen in the Sapphire Emerald lists as well. Ramping into Tipo, being able to get to your higher cards quicker than your opponent. And of course, Gerald now gets to play the library, Gift for Bell, which of course is another great way to draw cards in Amethyst. I certainly love drawing cards.
And not only will it draw cards, it'll gain 1 lore at the start of Gerald's turn. Each turn, it only costs 1 to move any of his characters in. He says, okay, go ahead. If you want to trade the Tinkerbell, go right ahead. I'm going to draw 2 cards off these Diablos, though, if you don't have an answer. And it looks like Dakota might be searching for an answer because he's now played Sail the Azurite Sea.
Yeah. That's the huge thing about just having them exerted, having them ready, not exerted. We do see Cheshire Cat now coming into play, a very strong ability, but before any damage can be moved, there wasn't any damage on the board, so Tipo is going to make the challenge to even this board out a little bit.
And smart to challenge in with the Basil, but if you notice, even if Dakota gives Basil the Basil support to the Cheshire Cat, it will only be 7 damage total, which means that this library is going to survive. Also, Gerald has the option to do what he just did, which is challenge in while moving a Diablo to the library with the Lumiere. This combo allows him to take out the Basil, draw 2 cards because of the Diablo effect and the library effect. We are cooking.
Absolutely. Lumiere, Fiery Friend, one of my favorite cards if I'm ever playing a Ruby deck because it gives all of your other characters +1 strength. Great stats. It is inkable if you need to use it, but I think you're always liking to pump up the jam with your characters.
It's as if he's saying, be my guest.
Absolutely.
Come on in. And now the question is, do we quest this Diablo? I believe we've exerted all of the ink here. It looks like Gerald is exerting to
Well,
play
here's
something.
the thing, though. With Cheshire Cat on the board, if there's an ability to challenge and get any damage on, you wouldn't want to quest. And
Right.
So,
Exactly, challenging.
Yeah, the +1 the +1 strength right now going to Diablo means that if Gerald was to exert it in any fashion, that Cheshire Cat would potentially be able to yoink that damage away and move it around to the other Diablo, say, or something, scary things.
Right. If you turn that Lumiere sideways, then you get to move that 2 damage around, banish some of the Diablos. The Junior Woodchuck Guidebook, though, coming down here.
And being popped right away. With that, we're going to see 2 extra cards into Dakota's hand, trying to draw faster than the other Amethyst deck.
Dakota I'm just looking at the body language of Dakota. He looks like a man who has a few things to figure out here. First of all, do we quest this Cheshire Cat? It looks like to be the question here. I'm seeing Sell the Azurite Sea. I'm also seeing a Hades in hand. But, you kind of want to draw the card, but you also just need to kind of ink so that you can get to that Hades and understand that if you can take away the tools like this Lumiere, it will only spell good things for you.
Or potentially something that's coming in after this Lumiere, because although Lumiere is a great target, making these Diablos potentially strong enough for 3 characters to challenge into Cheshire Cat and trade with it to be banished altogether, we really would rather just see Hades, Infernal Schemer, move the card into the Inkwell instead.
Right, he decides not to, and I'm realizing now also the bigger threat is this library, and he was probably wondering if he should challenge into the library or not. Giving 5 damage on 8 willpower is a lot.
Yeah, and at some point you might have to use your resources to get rid of it because this is a card draw race, so to speak. Who can get more cards quicker?
And the big problem is even if you challenge into the library, it does not take it out. You can then move both of your Diablos there. Right? If your opponent has another Lumiere and now these Diablos both have 2 each, you're giving 4 fresh cards to Gerald, right? While taking out the Cheshire Cat. But if Dakota doesn't do anything about this library, it's going to be an issue. It is steadily gaining some lore every single turn. And now Gerald is saying, you want to challenge into my Diablos, take 2 damage back, be my guest. You go ahead. I'll draw 4 cards.
4 cards. And on top of that, a favorite, Diablo Watchful Raven. You got to have that in any Ruby deck. It is on curve. It is low to the ground. You are getting such value with this. A 3/3 that can quest for 2, already representing, hey, I'm going to draw either 4 cards, I'm going to quest for 3, something's going to happen. Whatever damage you want to throw around might not matter at this point. Already up to 6 lore on board.
Also with this Lumiere, it will become a 4/3. We'll be able to take out the Cheshire Cat. I'm sorry, you're freaking out.
Infernal Schemer. I'm waiting for it because it is in fact Lumiere who we need to get rid of so that we can start challenging things. Well, potentially not the Diablos. Challenging things that aren't hanging out in the library.
And that's the thing. Now you can't even challenge into the library a turn early because you don't want your Cheshire Cat getting dismantled here, banished, right? But you have the 6 that you need in order to take out the library next turn, unless...
Doesn't matter. Elsa, the 5th spirit, is going to come in, make Cheshire Cat exerted. We're probably going to see Gerald make a challenge here, potentially. Oh, he doesn't have that great of a challenge. He's just going to move Diablo over to the library. Oh, and he is making the challenge. Okay, interesting move here. Why would you send Diablo in even though he's not going to make it and be banished.
Well, your Elsa has the rush, so we'll be able to 2-for-1. I do believe I saw him gesture with the ink to move Diablo to the library, so he didn't physically move it over, but he was able to put in the 3 damage and draw a card, which, you know, it's not the best move of all time for you, but you're still getting that value off of the draw with the library. You're still keeping the library intact, and this is how games get. This is how Ruby Amethyst players historically would run away with games. Back when we had cards like the Queen's Castle, that was what we would do. That 2 lore every turn. This library gaining steady lore every single turn.
Dakota flashing his own Elsa 5th Spirit, maybe saving it for when there's a character that's just ready.
Perhaps. I believe there's another Hades in the hand.
7?
Am I right? He's exerting 7. Yep.
Oh, yeah, it is. Why bother challenging when you can just put Elsa into the inkwell? Come on, let's see it, Dakota. There it is, double Hades.
But we're going to put the Diablo into the inkwell, and this is showcasing the power of the library. Typically, you reserve your Hades to put something into the inkwell that is a high cost, like the Elsa, like a Dumbo, like a Genie. But because of how smart Gerald has navigated this match with this library and protected the library, You're making Dakota pay 7 to use the Hades Infernal Schemer to take out a Diablo.
That's just crazy. Diablo is a card that we often see in the very first play of the game, the very first turn. He's coming down early, and he's managed to stick around for a long time, long enough that he's going to go straight into Hades. Gerald says, give me those cards. I will take them if you're not going to give them to me.
Absolutely. And for those people at home wondering, well, why didn't Gerald draw 2 off of the Diablo effect only triggers off of a banish. So putting him into the inkwell does not trigger the effect of the library or Diablo. Cheshire Cat, meanwhile, coming down is going to probably move 2 damage over.
Yeah, we got to get some damage on one of the Hades, and this will make it so at least one more either hit if he sends Elsa into this Hades, which she would survive. You know, then you only need either one more bout of damage moved from a boost of Cheshire Cat or one more swing with Elsa. Hypnotic strength, though. Tell us about what he did here.
We'll give +2 strength to the Elsa to be able to take out the Hades, and you draw a card.
We don't even need to wait around. We had it ready to go.
Gerald says, who needs to wait? I got all the gas right here. Meanwhile, we got the Cheshire Cat. We move the Elsa into the library, and if you're Dakota, you're looking at the board, you're going, well, I got 0 lore to 10. How am I going to contest this?
I really love that we're seeing the library coming back strong. You know, I love to be educated, and our characters are certainly taking their time, reading the cards from the deck, page by page, card by card.
You meant you like actual libraries and reading and such.
I do. As a princess, I will spend my time reading on the couch all day with a cozy book.
Incredible. I was never that student in school, if I'm being honest. But it looks like Dakota has a little bit of a think here, a little bit of a decision to make.
And another Elsa, our 3rd Elsa of this game, is going to be trading with Elsa. Elsa on Elsa. Girl, there can only be one.
There can only be one, and Dakota says, mine will be the one. I don't know if you saw what is in Dakota's hand right now, but he has the Demona.
Oh!
Which will be a back-breaking card if he plays it down, because he'll be able to draw 3 cards. He'll be able to ink whatever he puts down on whatever he draws in the next turn, draw 3 fresh new cards, because Demona allows you to draw up to 3 if you don't have 3.
I bet we'll see it. He didn't have enough ink available after playing Elsa this turn. But I think you're right. That'll be nice to fill back up, get some more cards in hand, and we see the Headless Horseman, Terror of Sleepy Hollow, coming in. Elsa with only 2 strength is a great choice for the Headless Horseman to banish when he comes in.
Absolutely, the only choice, and it looks like he challenges in with the Cheshire. He's going to boost and take out the Hades. So
Move
now,
that damage.
Oh, Gerald is smartly identifying here that he must clear the board, because if you leave challengers on the board on Dakota's side, you're walking straight into the Demona, Scourge of the Wyvern clan. Gerald's so smart here to do that. thinking ahead, looking ahead, and if you're Dakota, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place here.
Now, it still is either player's game. We finally got rid of the library and all of those pesky Diablos. We both have established a pretty large amount of ink in our inkwell. And even though Gerald is at 10 lore and Dakota is at 0 right now, we're going to start seeing some cards drop. And here she is, Demona, Scourge of the Wyvern Clan.
3 freshening cards for Dakota, but will it be too little, too late? Because Gerald is already at 10 lore here. We're already halfway to game on board.
I've seen a lot of things happen when players are halfway to game on board. I'm not counting anybody out yet.
He'll be able to quest for at least 3 here. This Demona will be able to get in some good challenges, but we might not even see it because Elsa is going to crystallize this Demona.
The 5th Spirit, she is so powerful. And Sisu Emboldened Warrior also coming down, which a small bonus right now for 3 cards in Dakota's hand will be able to make some decent challenges.
And now Gerald is saying, all right, I've gotten enough value out of that library. I've gotten up to 10 now. I'm up to 13. I'm just going to turn sideways, put a bunch of threats on board. I don't even need to deal with your Demona. You deal with me. Otherwise, I win the game. Can you get to 20 before I get 7?
Yeah, right now, Gerald has 6 lore available that he can quest for next turn, which would put him up to 19. So we're still likely 2 turns away because we probably will see some challenging here. Elsa, the 5th Spirit, going against the Headless Horseman. He will be banished, and Bell, Accomplished Mystic, will also come in and move some damage around. Cheshire Cat, you have been banished. We are done with your shenanigans.
Bell, Accomplished Mystic, one of the best cards that Dakota could have found there because it's an even 3 to take out that Cheshire Cat. Inexplicable. Which means that Gerald will not be able to keep boosting and moving the damage back. And just like that, the game is kind of turned around. Meanwhile, we got a Genie.
Yeah, Genie Wish Fulfilled. Draws a card when he enters, has Evasive, which could be relevant against those Elsas. You know, Belle, I just want to say she's one of the prettiest cards that comes in Amethyst. I love her in that cloak.
Absolutely stunning card. I believe that is Malia Ewert. Shout outs to the artist. And
Iago, the giant spectral parrot.
Ooh, and no quest from Sisu. That's a little bit odd to me. I wonder why. Maybe you're just saying I'm gonna...
I think you can hold up here. I think with representing 6 lore in play with 4 characters, if Dakota doesn't do anything, the evasive Elsa is not large enough to take care of the other Elsa. Hades can make a difference, though. So now we've taken that clock back. 1 more turn.
And, but I mean, the real question is, right, even if Dakota manages to clear the entire board this turn, which I don't think he'll be able to do, will he be able to get to 20 before Gerald is able to put enough threats on the board to be able to lure his way to game? And I don't think the answer is yes here. It's looking a little grim for Dakota.
We have gotten up to that 14 spot, and I do agree we might be heading into game 2 soon, but we're going to see Gerald take his turn here. Probably, I mean, okay, we have quite a few big characters now on Dakota's side. If he does just quest out, he might not have what he needs to get there. He's just leaving Sisu back as that insurance piece. And the Headless Horseman will take care of Elsa, the 5th Spirit, and Diablo just for more insurance, coming in to solidify that we can get enough lore by questing, and we are going on to game 2.
Yeah, Blurple, not the best color combination to deal with an extremely wide board unless you already have a giant board and you can Demona Scourge of the Wyvern Clan there.
Dakota will be on the play this time, which is going to be a huge advantage here. We don't want the faster deck to go first. If you want to win.
Yeah, Gerald showcasing how a little bit of tech in the form of the library and knowing how to protect that library can really come in clutch and take out an opponent that, for most people, I believe Ruby Amethyst players would say that Blurple is a very tough matchup.
And I see in Gerald's hand, he already has the 1-drop Amethyst Diablo and the 2-drop Ruby Diablo ready to come down. Even a Palace Guard, some really hot cards that we can see from the overhead camera here. It could be a fast start. Looks like 2 cards, 3 cards will be altered. Let's find some new cards. And we get a little peek at Dakota's hand as well.
Yeah.
I saw Tipo.
I saw, well, Sapphire players always happy to see a Tipo.
Yeah, right?
It ain't a sale, but it'll do.
Give us Rampant. Make us a growing sun, please.
Gerald, I don't know if you saw, but it looks like, and I could be wrong, he had They Never Come Back.
He did. I did see that.
And he
because
decided
it has Pinocchio
to keep
on it.
Yes. He decided to keep that in his opening hand, I suppose.
For ink, I would be my guess.
Ooh, maybe. Maybe there's also certain lines where Dakota starts getting down a Rafiki and this Basil practice detective, right, starts presenting a scary board, starts questing, and then he can freeze them, say, you're not going to come back up.
The nice thing about They Never Come Back, if you do choose to play it as an action, it does draw a card replacing itself. So we'll see what happens here. But starting off, Dakota's coming down with Basil, Practice Detective, and Tipo, as we saw, a little bit faster than his first game start.
Just a teensy bit here. And even with the support, this Tipo won't be able to take out the Palace Guard. Seems like a very, very safe quest right there. And Gerald is going to have to play that game because, especially being on the draw, you have to not only equalize, but you have to figure out a way to get on board the presence that you need in order to quest out and win this game quicker than your opponent can get to his best cards.
Yes, and Dakota following it up with an Iago Giant Spectral Parrot. We have these cool illusions that have vanished, both Palace Guard now in this game and Iago.
They Never Come Back. Gonna go ahead and take out the Iago.
Okay, so it did come in handy in this game. Exactly that vanish ability whenever it's chosen for an Axis. Goodbye. Sorry, Iago, you ain't sticking around. The Sultan no longer wants to see you.
Yes, these large statted characters that we got in set 7, set 8 with the vanish effect, right? These illusions, a little bit of a double-edged sword, and we're seeing exactly why. Now,
Elsa, the 5th spirit, she's here to make her mark again. The Ice Queen herself is going to say, Diablo, we're not dealing with this game.
Yep, no way. I don't know if you saw, though, Dakota has the Demona in hand. Once again, so we'll be able...
Much earlier than last game.
As long as he doesn't draw into an uninkable next turn, he will be able to play that Demona, draw 3 fresh new cards, and exert all of the characters on Gerald's side of the board here. That's why I'm assuming that's why he didn't use this Basil to give support to the Elsa, the 5th Spirit, and instead elected to take it out with a 2-piece with Elsa and Tipo.
And he is putting a Demona into the inkwell to play a Demona, Scourge of the Wyvern Clan. Love to see it. And that can also kind of equalize your opponent as well.
Now we're going to be able to make that nice efficient trade into the Palace Guard. Elsa's going to take back a little bit of damage, probably leave herself vulnerable to this Iago.
Yes, they both have evasive, so we could see the trade there, making Elsa be banished and Iago would make it past. But why not just get rid of Demona?
Ooh, and you don't even have to get rid of Demona this turn. Dakota has 3 cards in hand, so those 3 fresh cards that he drew now going to be a bit of a curse because of the Stone by Day effect of Demona. She won't be able to re-ready. Heads up play by Gerald here.
I love that. Yeah, the gargoyles have such a cool mechanic that if you don't have very many cards in your hand, it works for you. But I do like the Amethyst tricks, like even some of the faster decks, like the Burn deck with the Amethyst Chromacon. If you can make anybody who's playing gargoyles draw cards, they won't be able to ready them at the start of their turn.
As Hades, looking for a deal, comes down. What do you say? Gerald said, I'm going to go ahead and throw this Iago to the bottom of my deck. Not super important here. Maybe not the best target or the favorite target that Dakota would have liked to remove, but Gerald here with a couple of Hades of his own. We'll see what he elects to play here.
Yeah, and I was actually expecting when I said we could see Hades looking for a deal for Gerald to have it, and he does have it. We get to see both Hades. Who did he choose? He must
Demona.
Demona, okay. No, Demona's going to stick around, so you can draw 2 cards, please.
Meanwhile, Dakota making a very smart play, too, getting his hand size down and not electing to pop that Junior Woodchuck guidebook just to save it for later, because if he has more than 3 cards, his Demona won't be able to ready. You know, just smart heads-up play from both of these players that I'm seeing so far.
Absolutely. And we'll see a Tinkerbell Fancy Footwork come in here just to be an extra piece on the board. If we need her strength, we might use it.
Demona now, unfortunately now, though, we are going to pop the Junior Woodchuck guidebook. Dakota with a fresh-looking hand. I can't see what's in it, but...
we're going to get to see what he's going to play soon here. It looks like 3 ink.
When it comes to Amethyst,
probably
Sapphire...
a Cheshire Cat.
Ooh, Cheshire Cat would be pretty nice. Maybe not so much, because you don't have an evasive on your side to be able to challenge and then move the damage immediately. So maybe you keep the Cheshire Cat as sort of a, oh, I was wrong.
Okay, that's okay. We are going to boost Cheshire Cat. We're going to move the damage, just one of it, from Elsa to Tinkerbell Fancy Footwork. We don't want any additional strength taking out our pretty Amethyst characters. Let's keep it princesses, even though these aren't princesses. Don't touch us.
Nope, nope, nope. And it looks like maybe we're going to be singing that Into the Unknown. Onto the Elsa, yep.
Oh, yes.
Putting her into the inkwell, exerted. And Dakota is doing a fine job here of keeping the threats off of the board. It's a back and forth here. The Amethyst removal is so good this set, but we'll see how Gerald responds.
Well, and with Cheshire Cat now, I think this is such a great card. Really makes your opponent think about whether or not they want to get damage onto their characters, especially with Gerald. Some of his characters don't have enough willpower to survive 2 damage being transferred. Sure, Hades looking for a deal is fine right now, but as we've seen, there are certain cards in Amethyst that either give Challenger Plus or just 2 activations of the Cheshire Cat. You can only do it once per turn, but we have time here. The lore totals are not that high. Nobody's close to winning the game yet. And a third Hades looking for a deal. The second for Gerald coming down. Again, targeting Demona.
Drawing
again,
2 cards.
drawing.
Dakota does not want that Demona touched at all. She is putting in work, and yeah, I wouldn't want it either.
No, we'll play Baker's song on repeat, My Demona. over and over again, please.
The toughest part about the Cheshire Cat is that it really changes a lot of the math, right? Because typically what you want to do is get your opponent's threats and characters off of the board by challenging in, but the second that you do, to your point, your opponent can then challenge back in, acquire some damage, and that damage is just fodder for the Cheshire Cat.
Is there a 4th Hades that we might get to see this game in Dakota's hand?
There's a 4th Hades.
Oh my goodness.
That is what I'm seeing. We're seeing the same thing, Zebex.
Okay. Well,
Ooh, another Hades. He's the Infernal Schemer.
Okay, which Hades are you playing here?
Amethyst
or Sapphire?
I'm probably playing the Amethyst Hades here because I want to
Hades.
draw.
Yeah, because we no longer have our Junior Woodchuck guidebook. We've already used it. We want to keep getting cards.
Dakota looks like he disagrees, though, and says that Hades with its 3-4 stat line is enough of a threat. Get that out of here. I want to keep questing my Demona down.
Well, and he does have 2 cards in hand still, so maybe he was calculating that he would have been stuck too high at 4, or wouldn't have been able to be ready.
Could be, and I'm no Sapphire Amethyst expert or anything, so I'll trust Dakota here. If he believes that this Hades was the right play, I'm inclined to believe him. Either way, he's rushing here, and he's able to catch up on lore. Gerald in a little bit of trouble here because this board is starting to go really, really wide with the threat of the Cheshire Cat, so you kind of don't want to turn sideways either.
All of these characters with 6 willpower, we really need to see some big answers Otherwise, we might be headed to a game 3. Lumiere, Fiery Friend will help give some of the additional strength. So now both Tinkerbell and Hades will be able to challenge for 4 strength, which would be enough to make Hades, the looking for a deal Amethyst one, be banished, which it can currently challenge, or just double challenge into Demona. Of course, I don't know that you'd want to lose 2 characters for Demona. Hypnotic strength, though. We don't even have to do these calculations when we have a great action like this.
Right, but it's only going to give that Tinkerbell 2. So, with the Lumiere, I forgot about the math of the Lumiere, so that's 6. You saw it before I did.
That's okay. I love Lumiere, Fiery Friend. As a player who likes to play cards fast and low to the ground, that one works very well with Tinkerbell. Even though she has only cost 1, she was able to have enough hypnotic strength. Oh.
You see this
I see Ursula Whisper of Vanessa is huge. Why are you so excited about this, Brent?
This card, well, he just boosted the Ursula Whisper as well, giving her not only 4/5 stats, but 3 lore, questing for 3, and evasive. So this is going to be an issue. I'm realizing also why it was Dakota. Oh, did he? We just got another Hades. We got a 5th Hades, I guess, technically this.
Yeah,
this
if we're counting both players' deck, this is a match for Hercules. Any fans out there, your boy Hades is representing in round 8 of this Disney Lorcana Challenge here in Richmond. And we see Royal Guard, Octopus Soldier, another illusion from Reign of Jafar, as well as another item, the Junior Woodchuck Guidebook. We're really setting up a wide board over here.
The perfect board for a Demona. And I was about to say, I know why Dakota now played that Hades Infernal Schemer instead of looking for a deal. He didn't want Gerald to Demona him. Because if he has all of this wide stuff on board, has a lot of ink, can play down a Lumiere, now these Hades are striking for 4, right?
Yes.
That was the smart play that I did not see.
Having the extra willpower there, the stats of a 3/6, the Sapphire Hades just able to live a little bit longer when all of this extra strength and extra challenging ability is coming down.
Right, and it's never a bad idea to start getting some characters off the board of your opponent who's trying to aggro you, right?
Wow, and another Cheshire Cat. We have several targets that would be great to boost here. We're going to move some of the damage from Hades over to Royal Guard?
Hades Infernal Schemer.
Hades Infernal Schemer, that's
Took
right.
the 4 from the Hades plus the
Hades.
1 Lumiere, exactly.
I love that.
Moved it from there.
Yeah, Cheshire Cat doesn't restrict where you're moving the damage from. It can be your characters or your opponents, which is great too because then it makes his Hades able to survive potentially more challenges if there were only smaller characters on board.
And this is the swingy nature of these cards like Cheshire Cat, like Bell, Accomplished Mystic, is that now he's eliminated one of the toughest will-powered characters on the side of Dakota's board. And
folks, up at the top of the screen here too, we did see Gerald play a Dumbo, 9th Wonder of the Universe, and if anybody wants to draw cards with characters, Dumbo is going to let you do that, and could be really a great card here this late in the game, don't you
Absolutely,
think?
because you get to gain lore and draw a card just for one measly
I think
ink.
Hades has something to say about Dumbo, though. Please go into the inkwell.
We're going to also sing Into the Unknown onto the Vanessa, which is a bit of a double-edged sword here, because there was a card boosted underneath the Whisper of Vanessa. But Dakota says, who cares?
At this point, we've both built up enough ink on our inkwell that we'd rather see more characters off the board, and we're both going to be able to play anything that we draw, potentially.
And we are in full-on race mode here because we have to get to 20. We are almost halfway there on both sides of the board. Who is it going to be? Gerald, with seemingly infinite ink because of all of these Hades Infernal Schemers coming down.
Both players tied at 9 right now, and another Lumiere Fiery Friend. So now the Cheshire Cat will get +2 strength. Each Lumiere will be able to buff the other. They don't buff themselves, but that's okay. That makes Cheshire Cat able to take on some deities.
Right, but when you have close to, I want to say 10 to 12 ink, Lumiere is not the card that you want to see to get the full value.
We would have liked some of the higher top-end cards that are found in the deck list that Baker was showing off just before we started this match. Had no idea that we were coming over to a Ruby Amethyst match, but we would have liked to see some other cards.
Right, we would have loved, you know, we would have loved some Genie into Genie into Genie.
Oh,
that would have been some nice play.
Yeah, that would
Lumiere looks
really
pretty bad
be
in
like
comparison.
getting his freedom from the lamp, right?
Exactly. But now Dakota is ahead on board, ahead in the race, and says, if you want to go ahead and challenge into me, you're going to have to make some trades. These Lumieres are going to give each other +1, but that only makes them 3-2s here. Ooh!
Vanellope Von Schweetz. She is certainly a spunky speedster. She has evasive, and not a card you see all the time in every Ruby Amethyst deck. And again, a card we rather would have seen earlier than later.
Look at Gerald's face. I've made that face a ton when I know it's probably over. I'm still going to do the math. I'm still going to make the smart trades. We are here sitting at round 8, the final round of day 1. We got 4 more rounds of Swiss tomorrow, but this round really matters because the winner of this round will have a little more wiggle room tomorrow.
Yeah, now both of these players are currently sitting at 18 points. So both of them have made it to day 2. They have earned their 10,000 prize ticks. But any advantage, any leg up that you can get into going into day 2, just being able to potentially draw into the top 32, is that something that you think we'll see tomorrow?
Oh, I mean, you'd have to go pretty much undefeated, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable unless someone really smart told me that. But you really, for this format, I mean, the basic math is you can probably drop 2 games out of 12 and make it to day 2, and that's a May. So if you have a little more wiggle room, right, or let's say, because both of these players only have 1 loss so far, if my math is mathing correctly here, that means that you have a little more wiggle room tomorrow. If you win out tomorrow, 3 rounds, then you can start talking about, okay, well, is 10-1-1 good enough?
100%. And we did see Cheshire Cat here making the move to challenge Hades Infernal Schemer with the additional 2 strength, getting damage on Hades, 5 total, and damage on the cat itself to be able to boost it. And I think you gotta go finish Hades off. I mean, you're losing 1 damage to the wind, but you're getting a big body that can quest for 2 off the board. Yeah, let's banish Hades.
The Hades has to be banished. These other Hades, I mean, don't have to necessarily be banished, but we're getting close to a game on board here for Dakota.
Yeah, and now, of course, the 1 damage left on Cheshire Cat will be able to potentially see even more damage put on Dakota's Cheshire Cat. Lots to play around with that we could move around here. Lots of little targets on Gerald's side that could potentially be banished as well. And Dakota's sitting at 13 lore, representing 5 on board, really close to taking this game too.
Right, because Gerald doesn't want Dakota to get to 18 here, but he also doesn't want to lose either of these Lumieres because that's his way back into this game with all of the strength that it's going to be giving to this Vanellope Von Schweetz. He would have to 2-for-1 into the Hades. That was the only target.
And talk about the advantage here of using Iago to challenge the large Cheshire Cat that was pumped with 2 Lumiere Fiery Friends. I like that. It puts extra damage on Iago so that potentially if you wanted to move more over, if Gerald didn't do anything, and Dumbo, 9th Wonder of the Universe, coming in. At this point, yeah, our players are scooping up their cards. Dakota's going to take this game, and we're going to head to a Game 3. Hey, remember at the start of the match when I said we were going to round 3? I actually knew we were going to Game 3. I just have psychic abilities.
You just foresaw the future.
Am I Belle, accomplished mystic? I am wearing Amethyst today. That might be my princess power for the day.
Perhaps. Let's take a look. The players look like they are drawing their 7 fresh cards here. I wonder what they're going to alter for. Gerald will be on the play, and that is where you want to be when you are the Ruby Amethyst deck. You are playing the role of the beatdown. You have to go quicker than your opponent can start drawing into their more dangerous cards, which is exactly what we saw Dakota do. I mean, Gerald did a bang-up job last round and even put himself into a position where he has all this ink. He might be able to do something with it.
We have 2 Cheshire Cats in Dakota's opening hand. I like that. That only costs 3 to play. So now thinking about that, I hope he's keeping them both in his starting hand. It looks like he is. These are post-altar hands, and we're going to see Tinkerbell fancy footwork coming down first for Gerald. But
something to note about Dakota's hand, he does not have ramp. He does not have ramp on 2 here. I'm not seeing a Tipo. I'm not seeing a Sail the Azurite Sea. That is going to really put a damper on Dakota's playstyle here.
Basil, practice detective coming in, will be able to lend the support. Maybe we're going to go a little bit more aggressive for game 3. The first, in game 1, you were saying, I don't know what Amethyst Sapphire has to go against this. Maybe we need to shift our strategy, especially with having the Cheshire Cats in hand, play out some more characters, be able to challenge in, get some damage over, and move it to the characters like Tinkerbell that only have 1 willpower, where they will be able potentially, soon.
And cards like the Junior Woodchuck's Guidebook and Cheshire Cat Inexplicable really are going to give Dakota a little more insurance if he does miss. Ooh.
Oh, but miss might not happen. We have the library back in, a gift for Belle, where we get all of that 1 lore at the start of our turn with all of that extra card draw if we move even 1 or 2 characters over. It made a big difference in that first game.
Now, here's an interesting line that could be taken here. There is a Junior Woodchuck's Guidebook. That Royal Guard gets +1 strength for every card that's drawn. Heavily Armed is the name of the effect. If he pops that, this turn draws 2 fresh new cards, gives Basil support to the Royal Guard. I believe that adds up to 7, and you're only 1 away. He does not see that line. He instead says,
no, I like
it simple.
But I like what you're thinking here. Even though he didn't take that line this turn, it does appear that he's shifting his strategy to be able to challenge whatever Gerald puts into play. Say, I'm not going to give you the opportunity to say, hey, I'm going to hold up my birds at the library and just draw a bunch of cards.
Yeah, we don't want no birds at the library.
No.
As the Genie Wish Fulfilled comes down, drawing a fresh card for Gerald here, gaining a lore off the library.
And now we get to see exactly what you described, Brent. Dakota is going to use that Junior Woodchuck Guidebook. Of course, we don't have any challenges open except for the library, which we would love to knock down. That 8 willpower is just really hard to deal with.
The really tough part here, though, is that you would have to exert everything on your side of the board, because you'll draw 1 for turn. That'll put the Royal Guard to 2/2. Drawing with the Junior Woodchuck's Guidebook, you get another 2 cards, which will get you to 4. Getting the Basil to challenge in, okay, cool, we're just going to do it. We're
doing it.
We're exerting everything.
We saw in game 1 how much of a problem that library was. We don't even want to chance it. We don't want any additional cards, any characters getting additional bonus, any additional lore. No extra anything. The location is not where Dakota wants to be.
Nope, not at all. A Lumiere would be a punishing card here. A nice Lumiere. I don't think that he has it in hand. Just
doesn't look like it.
Nope.
But I do see a Headless Horseman who can at least target, have 2 choices there on Dakota's side, Basil or Royal Guard, if choosing to play it.
That's right. And once you put that down, the Terror of Sleepy Hollow will also boost up 1 strength to all of your characters for every character that gets banished, including the character that gets banished when you play him. So
just
this
like
Tinkerbell,
Lumiere,
this Tinkerbell will be able to take out this Cheshire Cat. We're going to be able to make clean trades all around here. If Gerald sees the line, I don't know. I'm not sure what he's thinking about here. That seems like, he drew the Lumiere, so he's probably
debating. Am I going to go Lumiere first, or am I going the Headless Horseman first? They both have a similar effect. It kind of depends on how much ink he's on right now.
I got to imagine that the Headless Horseman is a little bit of a better play, just because you're curving out. Yep.
I think he agrees. Yeah.
Inkwell.
You get to banish a character on your opponent's side, which is just a great 2-for-1. Let's have Basil be banished, and then also get our additional strength so that Tinkerbell will be able to take out the Cheshire Cat, as you predicted, Brent. That's so great.
And now this Genie is going to go ahead and challenge into the Royal Guard. We're still going to quest 2 to boot. The score is 4-1. It's still anybody's game, but it's looking a little scary because Gerald has 6 lore on board, and still the Azurite Sea is something. Look at Gerald nodding. He knows. He's like, oh, yeah, that's what I want to see right now. I don't want to see any of the cards that are going to help you bring this back here. Now you only have 3 lore or 3 ink. Once you sail, you can put an additional card into the inkwell, so you'll have 4, but what do you play?
Another Cheshire Cat.
That's always the answer, isn't it?
We saw it in the opening hand, and I believe we've only seen 1 so far this game. So if we can get more damage on and move it around, I mean, we need something to take care of that evasive genie.
Right, but then why put this Iago into the inkwell? Probably Dakota realizing.
Okay, yeah. Let's save our evasive characters, please, for when we need them.
But Dakota's being very smart here too, because he realizes that there was they never come back last game or 2 games ago. Guess what Gerald has in his hand?
Oh, it's hiding there, and they never come back. I see him flipping through his cards, and I certainly recognize that card.
Dakota has to decide here. Does he think that Gerald has it? And if he chooses wrong here, it could be the game.
And you really don't know at this point, but let's play Dumbo, 9th Wonder of the
Year,
which is huge. Way better than a Cheshire Cat. I mean, at this point, also has evasive stats on him, but does have the ability to draw a card and gain a lore and give that same ability to your other characters with evasive, which we know there's a ton of characters in this deck with evasive.
The fact that that genie has 1 damage on it is probably what influenced that decision for Dakota, and he made the right decision. Even though now he's probably feeling down in the dumps, it was actually the right decision because Gerald would have just zapped away the Iago anyway and drawn a card off of it.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep, we did see that in the inkwell, and so Dumbo only taking 1 damage from Genie Wish Fulfilled on Gerald's side, and we are exerting 7 ink. We are seeing Hades Infernal Schemer. We want to choose Genie Wish Fulfilled to go into the inkwell. Please get it out of here. If you're going to get rid of my evasive characters, then I'm going to get rid of yours.
Yeah, and a little bit of even though we got the Hades down, Dakota notably had to ink one of the most powerful cards in his deck in the form of Demona, Scourge of the Wyvern Clan. Oh, and another Hades in the hand, but it might be too little too late here because Gerald is really climbing up on lore. We're at 13. We've
got to take care of this Dumbo right now.
We've got 5 lore on board. We're going to get to 18. I mean, Dumbo or not, we just got to get lore off of the board here. Probably Diablo a little bit more of the threat here because if.
But what about the damage that you could move over from Cheshire Cat?
You're right. You're right.
But no, you also have a strong argument here because Gerald being at 13 lore.
Oh, and the Lumiere's down. Sorry to interrupt, but the Lumiere's down, so it would be a trade.
Ooh.
Oh no, it wouldn't be a trade.
It's
the other Hades.
That's the Amethyst one. This Sapphire Hades with 6 willpower will make it. However, if Cheshire Cat is able to move any damage over, then he will be gone. But a second Hades, yes. I said take care of Dumbo, and Dakota knew exactly what to do. He took care of Dumbo.
And we ink the Hades looking for a deal also. That's an interesting play. I guess because you know that you're basically just going to draw 2 cards and have a 3/4 body on board. But now if you're Gerald, you kind of got to navigate a little carefully here.
Okay, they never come back. We do see that action here.
And Gerald drew into another Lumiere, which, yeah, okay.
So I think that's why the Hades looking for a deal was put into the inkwell, because as we saw in one of the earlier games, with those Lumiere strengths, you need a character with bigger stats, bigger willpower to be able to survive at least one challenge.
Mm-hmm. Drawing into a Junior Woodchuck guidebook here, another fresh 2 cards in hand, probably not bad. But do you play Genie first? That's the question.
I would. Why not? Then
because maybe if you play the Junior Woodchuck guidebook and then you draw into something that
Genie is a character. We need the body down. We need to be able to. If right now Gerald doesn't have the win on board, we need more characters down so that once their ink is dry, we're able to make the challenge here. I think that's why we went over the Junior Woodchuck guidebook. Then if we didn't draw something good, but we did, Madam Mim Elephant. We want to tell us about this card, Brent?
Yes, a 3/7 body on board that reads, once per turn at the start of your turn. If this character has any damage counters on it, you may move up to 2 to another chosen character. So this is going to be a little bit annoying because if Gerald decides to turn anything sideways, 7 willpower is very, very tough.
And Dakota had exactly enough ink to play those 2 characters, so that was super timely. Tinkerbell, fancy footwork. I mean, she is getting buffed by Lumiere, getting a little bit of extra strength, but against that 7 willpower, Madam Mim, all of these characters on Dakota's side, he really has put some thought into making sure the strength is there.
The other part that I didn't mention about the Madam Mim Elephant, typically, when you have to bounce a character back to your own hand, one of your own, that's a drawback. Not when it's Hades' Infernal Schemer, when you're going to be able to put another card into the inkwell. So now Gerald in this very awkward position here. Do I start taking things out? It seems like that's the exact plan.
And this is where the experience of knowing your deck comes in. If you've play tested, you're going to know exactly which card is going to be exactly when to make those moves. And these players at these top tables, we're going to see top dollar Disney Lorcana games right here.
We're going to climb up to 16. This seems like the critical turn. If Dakota does not have an answer for the board and able to more or less wipe out the entirety of the board, I mean, we'll be able to get the Madam Mim Elephant to challenge into the Cheshire Cat. This Genie would be able to trade for Tinkerbell, which you don't want to see. We have a whole ton of ink here. This seems like the exact time that you're going to want to
play Hades' Infernal Schemer. And but the key is here, we need removal. We don't have access to things like the Mean, Malicious, and Scary combo, so we need to be putting everything into the inkwell. We're either putting it there or challenging it. That's kind of the main way that both of these decks are working.
And you hate to challenge in with the Genie and make a trade, but when you're both kind of in top deck mode here, what else do you do? Clear the board, hope that Gerald doesn't draw into something really, really great. You know, last game he kept drawing into Lumieres, into oh my gosh, the 3-1 Spunky Speedster.
Yes, and we did see Tinkerbell Quest here taking Gerald up to 17. An interesting decision when you're then showing a 4-turn clock here. And Dakota just says, yeah, we're going to take that out, banish Tinkerbell, and start questing our own points on the board. And had there been any characters left, Bell Accomplished Mystic would have been able to move that last damage over from Madam Mim Elephant. But currently, Gerald has no characters in board.
Right, and having that 2 damage on that Madam Mim Elephant is going to be dangerous because you have to essentially... Ooh, that's not a bad card, though.
Yeah, Hades looking for a deal here is going to choose Madam Mim Elephant, and it looks like Dakota took the deal.
Oh, and Dakota might regret playing that Bell that turn. I mean, there's nothing you can really do. You need to race. You need to get the bodies on board to start challenging in that Hades looking for a deal, being able to put the Madam Mim Elephant at the bottom.
Here we go. Dumbo closing it out here, securing the fact that we're going to have enough lore. If we weren't going to have enough time for Dakota to catch up there. It turns out Gerald had just gotten ahead there.
Wow, what a match and a sigh of relief from Gerald. I've played games like that with way less stakes and just gone, ooh, you know that sigh. You've seen that sigh.
Yes, congratulations to Gerald. We'll be going into